Here's Wilson, and on the right circle, he scores!
Rebound loose, wild scramble in front, score! Ovechkin with a buzzer beater! It'll count!
And a hat trick tonight, number 21,
Spectacular! Braden Holtby!
Hello and welcome once again to the Powerplay Point Podcast. This is the Blue Liner on Point, talking to you live from beautiful, well, dreary, let's say, downtown Glen Burnie, Maryland. And it's another week, the third one in the official 2018-2019. No, I'm getting behind already. 2019-2020 NHL season, and we're following the Caps on their travels. There'll be a lot of that discussed later. And with me, as always, to help me out, the Mermaid to my fisherman.
Oh.
I will try not to prevail upon her too much with unreasonable wishes. It is, of course, live tape from Centerville, Virginia, Anna Knox.
Yes. Happy Sunday, Gil. Happy Sunday.
Yeah, if there is such a thing.
It's you know what, I will say my Niners won today, so that was awesome, even though they were playing the Redskins, but whatever. I'm glad I didn't go to the game though, because my God, that rain. But anyways, we have Caps hockey to talk about.
That we do. That we definitely do. It was. I thought the week before was roller coaster and up and down. Good Lord.
Yeah, this didn't start off great.
No, it did not. It most certainly did not. But at least it ended well. So far. Okay, so before we get into our end of things, though, covering the week that was,
yes.
We want to make sure, Anna and I, that we mention a couple of loyal listeners who have been very good to us over these last 3 years, ever since the new format with us both. And we want to take some time right now, just a few minutes, to recognize them and some nice things that they've said about us and the show recently. So, Anna, why don't you start?
I would love to. I would absolutely love to. So this gentleman and I became friends last year, and I was like, wow, here's a guy who does truck driving for a living, and he's going from Maryland to California, and for all those hours of driving and whatnot, he finds comes upon our podcast and listens to it. And now Mr. Eric Hayes has his route going from Maryland to Vermont like 3 times a week. I don't know how he does it. However, he does find time on these long overnight rides to listen to our show, and always leaves the best compliments and is always very pumped up on game day, very pro Caps, frustrated when we're all frustrated. But the fact that, he listens, I love that. So Eric Hayes, we thank you for your time, and appreciate the fact that when you're on the road, you're listening to the Powerplay Point podcast. So this is your personal shout out from me to you, and I'm sure talk to you later on this week.
Yes, and I echo those sentiments wholeheartedly. And just as an extra added side note, if you're interested in getting in touch with one Mr. Eric Hayes, you can follow him on Twitter. Hope he doesn't mind me giving this out, but you can follow him on Twitter. He is at RedRocker671. He and I and Anna exchange messages all the time. And if you are a fan of and he is, as Anna said, living in the DMV. So if you are the fan of one of the following, the Ravens, Orioles, Nationals, Skins, Wizards, Bay Sox, Norfolk Tides, NASCAR, and of course our Washington Capitals, then he will be most glad to get to know you and talk sports with you. And but outside of that, he's gotten to know him. He's a pretty good guy as well. So got a lot of decent values to him. So pretty good stand-up guy as well. So just wanted for Anna and I to give him his due and recognize him as one of our very loyal listeners. And Eric, we do appreciate your time and your devotion to the show. It really makes things go around here. It lifts everything up when, it kind of, sometimes it gets kind of hard to do things, life getting in the way and all that. And your wonderful comments really do provide a boost when we need it the most. So I on behalf of Anna, I just wanted to let you know that personally during this episode. So hope things are well with you. And I personally also want to recognize another loyal listener who's come on the show a couple times and made her presence felt in a few different ways, who had very kind words to say about our most recent episode. Seems our opinions on the so-called goalie controversy and basically the way the team was playing kind of struck home with her, and she thanked us wholeheartedly for that. In fact, I'm going to read her comment verbatim from Twitter. Just getting to listen to the podcast, love everything about it. And let me tell you, when I saw that, I was like, wow, this thing, it's that's what it's all about, connecting with the listeners. And that's really the number one reason why we do that. And Lisa, we are very, very glad that our words resonated with you. And that's, just like Eric's comments, that's one of the reasons why we keep going, because we want to connect with fans and say, hey, even in the darkest of times, there is no reason to bail out on this team. And because we are why the team plays, we are why things keep going. So just wanted to take a few minutes to recognize both Lisa and Eric for their wonderful contributions to the show and to their listenership. And it's in Eric's case, it's long overdue, because he had some very nice things to say about a couple episodes back. And
I just have to add.
Well.
Yeah, I just have to add, Lisa's my girl. And the fact that she was so candid on the all girl episode back on my birthday, like I said on our Facebook page before, me personally, Miss Commando, appreciates you, Miss Thong, for being a fan and a listener and just a kick-ass person all around. So that's it.
All right, moving on. For the love of God, let's move on. All right, so okay, one thing, and I don't want to spend too much time on this because we've got to get to the hockey, but I did notice, this is a Caps fans podcast. I did notice that in a lot of the other, not ours, but in a lot of the other discussion groups in Facebook, Twitter, what have you, social media, I wouldn't say it's overwhelming, but it's pervasive enough so it's annoying to me, at least. Anna, I don't know how you feel about this, but there, of course, is a big to-do about the other teams in the DMV and their success, and that's kind of creeping into the hockey pages. And it occurs to me that some of the Caps fans aren't too happy about that's leaking into the hockey. And I'm sorry, but to that I say, well, too bad. And here's why. We're a community, and that's what it comes down to.
Right. And it's not as if we're sitting here talking about, the whole Nat season, the whole Mystic season, the whole whatever season. We were just acknowledging how kick-ass these athletes are, and acknowledging that they made it to their championship. And a lot of the players on the other DC sports team, especially the Nats, have been super close with the Capitals and supportive of each other. So you know what? Fuck off. Like, I mean, come on. Who cares? Why can't you like, yes, this is a hockey show, but you can talk about, a couple other things for about 30 seconds and still be okay. We're not going play by play. We're not doing a World Series show. We're not doing anything like that. We're acknowledging and happy for for DC sports. So those people are stupid.
I couldn't agree more. And look, I will be completely honest here. I'm not going to lie. I don't give the contents of 20 diaper pails about basketball or baseball. Okay. I've long since given up on those two sports because of a lot of issues. And ladies and gentlemen, do not get me started on football, lest I forget. Okay. You don't want to lambada with me on that one. Trust me. Okay. Because I got a lot of issues with that one. But my point is.
But you getting all fierce.
Well, wait till I get going. I'm just getting warmed up.
Okay.
The point I'm trying to make here is that they all represent a community. Okay? There's a reason why I point out and say, hey, thank you, fans from the state of Maryland, the District of Columbia, the Commonwealth of Virginia. And it's not even limited to that because we have listeners from overseas. We've got listeners on both coasts of this continent, over the border, which we'll talk about later. And, I don't understand why we have to be so exclusive about things, because if you think about it, we're all this great big community. And look, for what I get is for so long, the DMV was criticized as nothing more than just this big melting pot full of people that came from other places, transient, that had no sense of hometown pride. And here we are, we've got some success, and everybody's crapping on. Okay, not everybody, but a few people want to crap on it. The baby shark coming, being played at the game. I mean, come on, what's wrong with that? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
I gotcha.
You don't like it, just be accepting of it. That's all I'm saying about that. All right. So now on to the actual hockey. So, okay. So it was, oh boy, it didn't start out good. Let's just cut to the chase. The Columbus Day game against Colorado. And, I don't know. I don't know what happened here. Mrs. Blueliner thought maybe it was the time change. But I don't know. Obviously, the Caps were not ready. They didn't come out playing. Holtby had, shall we say, pretty far from his best game. 3 shots, 3 goals, no saves, and a glove full of nachos for the rest of the night. Samsonov came on, did his best, but ended up giving up 3 more, and it was a 6-3 loss. And I mean, for the first period, anything that could have gone wrong did go wrong.
Mm-hmm. This was a shitty game.
Yeah.
This was really, oh man. And the crazy thing was, I was supposed to go to this game. And we talked, I don't know if I mentioned this before or not, but it was a teacher appreciation night. And it was, you could go and, if they picked you or whatever the circumstance was, you got voted by your teacher or school or whatever, you'd be interviewed, be on the Jumbotron, you'd get a signed jersey. There was all these fantastic things. And I was supposed to go with some of the teachers that I work with. And we had to buy a group of 10 tickets, and we only had 7 that wanted to go. So we're like, all right, it wasn't going to work out. We had to still go to school that day, even though it was closed, and sit through training. And, it was that's how the day started. So I'm like, it's kind of starting negative. I don't know how it's going to end. And a 5:00 game, but I don't know. I wish I could tell Mrs. Blueliner that I agree with her. And I wish that was the reason. But honestly, it was a 5:00 puck drop. 2 hours. They should have been ready. They didn't. It's not like they knew it was coming. And it was at home. What the hell? But it was like, hey, Grubauer is going to be in, between the pipes. Awesome. And Burakovsky, like, yeah, you're back. Who cares? But I just they came out like deer in the headlights, and it was sloppy. It was cringeworthy. Like, I really hated this game. And the fact that there was 3 goals in under 8 minutes, and then he got to pull Holtby, that just kind of set the mood for, a lot of the remaining second and third period, unfortunately. So yeah, this one sucked, and I'm glad it's behind us.
Yeah, and I think the defining moment of the game was one where Holtby wasn't even involved. It was the 5th goal where Samsonov was doing something, or trying to do a little something behind the net, kind of did a lazy backhand and gave up the puck, and
right,
bing, bang, bong, 5-2, and that pretty much kills the little rally that the Caps were, going there.
Right.
Some would say
but
the callback goal did that.
Yeah. But we're in a situation where, of all the games, we knew, people pitched and moan about Holtby, and this was kind of like the icing on the cake for that guy. And we're like, oh God, come on. And then we knew Sammy was going to come in, and you know what? He was probably humbled after this game, because you have some damn good players on that team. The Avalanche just came out ready, and they played 60 minutes, and the Caps, I don't know, maybe 25, and that may be generous, but it was terrible. It was really just a shitty game. So let's move on to the next one.
Yeah. Just one last comment on it would be that had the Caps played like they did in the second period, they pretty much would have won that game.
Agreed.
But yeah, moving on to the next game, and that was the last home game. No, not the last home game, but the one on Wednesday versus the Leafs. And this game, I don't mind telling you, I was a little nervous about, given the goal situation and the fact that the Leafs have one of the most highly touted offenses in the league. And, of course, what happens? First shot of the game, and it's a short-handed goal. Kasperi Kapanen opens 4:37 in. I was eating some takeout food at the time and wanted to chuck it out the window, not through my mouth. But I stuck with it, and the Caps rewarded me by giving up another goal 6 minutes later. And then who should come to the rescue with time dwindling?
My number 13.
Jacob Vrana with a nice little slapper in front.
It wasn't just a nice little slapper. That was badass, and he looked good, and he was ready. Like I've been watching, some of the games, and I think this is only his 2nd goal of the season, which is fine because we just kicked off the season only 2 weeks ago. But he's one that he stays after practice. He's given 100%. He's so intense, and when he misses it, he really kind of beats himself up. So this was absolutely fantastic to see for number 13.
Yep, and nice play to start. Garnet Hathaway opens it up by getting it across the line, finds Carlson, who goes in the middle and then sees Vrana all alone for the one-timer, and that gets them on the board. And that's really all they needed was that kickstart, and him to kickstart it, because he was struggling a bit.
Yeah.
He wasn't having a good time of it, but Vrana is one of those guys where he just needs one good thing to happen, and he's off and running. So that was good to see.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to the second, you knew the Caps were rolling, and then Evgeny Kuznetsov, who needs to be good, and we needed for him to be involved, and he did get involved, and he ties it 2-2 with a backhander. Carlson and Hagelin on the assist there, and the Caps finally go up 3-2 about 11 seconds later. You talk about rolling. The next 10 and a half, they owned it. And Nick Backstrom with a wrister to put them up 3-2. Oshie and Nick Jensen on the assist there. And then 1 minute, 7 seconds later, Caps go up on the power play, and Carlson puts away the slapper from the point, from the power play point, assisted by Ovechkin and Backstrom. Beauty of things to see. And again, I would really like, we know Carlson can handle the puck. Obviously, he's co-leading the league in scoring, for crying out loud. We know he can play defense. This is what I want him to do more of, is shoot the puck, especially with traffic in front.
Agreed. He's got a hell of a bullet.
Yes, he does.
And I think, everyone has always been like, oh, he should have had the Norris Trophy last year and the year before. Regardless if he gets it this year, which of course, because we're so early in the season and he is having this phenomenal season so far, I really do. And I said it before, I really do think him having that A on his jersey has taken his confidence level to another level. And then just kind of, I don't know, he doesn't look like he's rushing when he's out there. Like he's not the uber methodical player, but he's taking the time to make smart plays. And I think, God, 74, what a badass. And I hope it continues. I really do. But I agree with you. I want to see him shoot more. But I think what he's doing right now is I have nothing negative to say.
No, and I'll add to that even more. And this was Alan May was saying after the most recent game. It's not just that he's putting up the numbers. His overall defensive play away from the puck has improved as well, and that's why he deserves Norris consideration. Yeah. Because if you look at the criteria for the damn thing, it's the best all-around defenseman. Okay, yeah. It's not an Art Ross Trophy defenseman. Okay, it's the best all-around defenseman. And if you want further proof, just look at NHL.com. Look at who's leading in plus minus. Okay, you're not going to see Brent Burns up there, who's a -6. Okay, you're not going to see Victor Hedman, who's a -4. Okay, you're going to see John Carlson among those leaders, in addition to scoring rates. That means he's getting the job done at both ends of the rink. All right? Now, look, I know it's 3 weeks, but I'm fairly confident that he can keep this up. So, given that, a brief look at the vitals. Okay, this, I think, was the key to the game, because this is why you have to know your opponent. Toronto, very, very good puck-moving, offensive-minded team, but they can't take the pounding, and it showed. Hit counter, 31 official hits for our Capitals, 9 for the Leafs. Clearly dominated that part of the game. Clearly they were out-muscled, and though they did manage to get 3, I think if you wipe out those 2, because I think, again, it was a little slow start by the team for some reason. Can't get going in the first period, and it showed again here. But once they did get going, obviously they turned it around. Right. So they definitely have to keep the hitting game up, and that's definitely going to be one of the keys. Okay, so rounding out the week is the Friday game against the Rangers. This was not too long ago. Finally, the Caps get the opening goal at home. TJ Oshie and a lot of people were beefing about this, that Ovechkin and Backstrom should have gotten credit for the assist, but Oshie ends up taking a whack and a whack and a whack at it after Ovechkin and Backstrom got the puck, and I think something about Stahl had it for a second. That's why they didn't count those assists, but he gets his 5th on the power play to open the scoring. Rangers tie it up on their own power play 10 minutes later, and then who should bring them to the lead but a long-lost friend of ours,
yes,
making his season debut. This you talk about a thing of beauty. I love seeing this, and that's, of course, Michael Kempny.
I'll tell you, I think I teared up a little bit. Just the fact that we've been waiting and hearing that he's at practice, but then he's got, the different colored jersey on, the no contact jersey. It's like, oh, is he going to come back? Is he going to come back and be the same? Or is he going to come back and be cautious because of all the rehab he had to go through? And I would imagine tremendous pain, which, I mean, come on, I offered to be like the personal nurse, and it was sad to be denied. Well, not even denied, but like no one replied. I was like, what? But anyways, so for him to come back and then let's just back it up though, before the goal, Gudas dropped it with I totally drawn a blank on the other player's name, who, knocked Kenny down, and it was like, what the hell? But Gudas, thank you. Like, that's what I needed. He didn't initiate it, but he was there, and it was like, no, you're going to bump Company because this is his first game back, and it was a total dick move. And Gudas comes in. I applaud 33 for that. I appreciated that. But that goal from Kempney, God, that was freaking awesome. And the smile and everyone coming over to congratulate him just shows you how awesome these players are. And they missed him. I missed him. But the players missed him. Like, they needed him to come back. And for him to come back after all this time and score is fantastic. So, yeah, it was awesome. A little teary-eyed, but it was awesome.
Yeah, can't blame you for that. And you're right. They did miss him, both his personality and his play on the ice, because it showed in that maybe he didn't get as much ice time as he normally would have, but okay. And again, as Alan May mentioned several times over the course of the broadcast, that he was the best skating defenseman by far on the team, and that adds a little something in coverage as far as puck movement. And they missed that sorely. And it really, really showed in that this was a very good test, in that the Rangers, a lot of new, younger legs on this team.
Yes.
And they're not to be taken lightly. They might be still struggling a bit, but this was a good test for Kempney. And I would say he passed with flying colors. And you mentioned Gudas standing up for him. You've been waiting for that for a while, I know.
Oh my God.
And he answered the bell.
He did
admirably.
He did. And then you have to say that you have to, have nothing but respect for a player who usually is a bit of a hothead and, kind of wanting to fight everybody, kind of like how Tommy was a couple of years ago. But you have him now not wanting to push the penalty and whatever, and saying, okay, you drop the gloves first. I'm dropping them, and now I'm going to give you 110% and take you down. But also, and you're new on the Capitals team. He knew Kempney prior to this. They played, however many years ago together. And so there's a respect there. But the fact that you're going to come out and like, this is the guy's first game and he gets like a dirty hit and Gudas is like, I got you back. I have respect for the guy. I truly do. Am I going to buy his jersey number? No. But 33, thank you for taking, taking that time to protect number 6. And I want to see more of it.
Well, you talk about that guy standing up for the team.
Oh, I want
to mention somebody else that took one for the team in more ways than one, and keeps on proving himself, at least to me, and hopefully the rest of this town. But Garnet Hathaway, you gotta love him. You cannot help but love the guy.
I do. And this is the first time, Gil, in 3 years that you've had like the full blown man crush. And not just physical man, but I'm saying like that you have picked and zoned in on a player. And I 100% agree with you. Like this, I talk about Tommy, I talk about Vrana, I've talked about Kempney, and it's like their skill and the admiration for the players and everything else. But you have zoned in on this guy, and I 100% on board. Like, what a fucking badass. And in this game, oh, it was awesome.
He was one assist away, one connected pass away from a Gordie Howe hat trick. And that says it all. To me, that says it all.
And to do the interview at the end in the locker room with a broken nose and be like, yeah, it's a little bit off. Oh my God.
It's like
a big deal. I was like, when I see something like that, I'm like, I'm gonna throw up in my mouth a little bit. And
it's just a flesh wound.
Yeah, it's like, it's no big deal. And he handled himself so well, but he has come onto the Capitals team and the roster with such force and such skill. And he has that side of him that's like, he's so protective of, hey, this is what you're going to do this, and this is how I'm going to respond. And I know we talked about it before with him in the comparison with the Tommy dropping the gloves, but I don't care. Like, he is just freaking fantastic. So I don't know if he's playing tonight. I hope so. I never saw the lineup for when they were playing it up against the Blackhawks. I don't know what happens. Like, when you have a broken nose, do you have to sit out for
Look. What? And there, I'll harken back to something my dad used to say about certain athletes, but I think with Garnet Hathaway, you would have to poke a hole through in and out for him to not be able to play. All right.
I agree.
I think that would be the only way you could stop him from playing.
True.
So
True.
I'm pretty sure he's in the lineup tonight. I don't think something like a broken nose is going to stop him.
I just couldn't. I would be so worried that someone's going to be like, don't, you don't want a puck to the face, or someone to be like, you know what, you got a broken nose, and here's what I'm going to do. Just gonna touch it. I know he's a badass. He'll take it, and you know what? And if he's got to drop the gloves, that there's a Tommy and a Gudas back with backup. That's hell yeah.
Of course, they rewarded his efforts appropriately. The Caps team did with the Nats helmet after the game.
Yep.
And if it's any team that gives good helmet, it's the Caps.
They do give good helmet.
Yes, and that was extremely joyous to see on my part, because I like seeing a guy. No. Fortunately not. I don't think he could have handled that breathing out of his mouth. But cream pie is for first timers.
Oh. Oh, I have such. All right, moving on.
Moving on, definitely. So, all right. So, yes, Garnet Hathaway closes the scoring with time dwindling. And before that, Oshie gets another power play goal to make it 4-2. And that would be his sixth, which actually, as of this moment, leads the team. And of all people, Nick Dowd gets the game winner. His first, a little bit of a tiny mini controversy, I want to say, between who should start with him versus Stevenson. I want to say, and I got to say right now, I think Dowd has the edge as far as production. Now, some want to give the edge to Stevenson because he's better at the faceoff dot, but I don't know. It's kind of neck and neck here.
Yeah,
really hard to say, but that's gonna be another intriguing story that plays itself out over the course of the season. And like so many have said in comments in various rooms, look, this team is still trying to find their way. They're still trying to discover untapped chemistry, still trying to get to know each other, and it's it's just one of those things. So all in all, overall, a good end to the homestand. One bad loss, but two pretty good character-building wins, 2-1. And that leads us to next week, starting tonight, actually. They're going to go on the road. So gonna pretty much wrap it up here, but it's a pretty long road trip that they're going to go on here.
It's kind of a brutal 2 weeks.
Yeah, and it's just I don't know. It starts tonight, as we said, with Chicago playing tonight, 7:00 puck drop. out there. And so they'll play the Hawks. And then it's 4 games over the border.
Yes. Why are you making it sound so mysterious?
It's a Caps road trip to the other side of the border. And they're playing the national game of fun, frozen water. And they'll start with the Calgary Flames. The trip will last for 4 games. And we know, yes we know, they can...
I'm shaking my head now. I thought maybe you would have felt it through the microphone.
Oh.
I didn't see that coming. Wow. You haven't done the song thing in a while.
That's what she said.
Yeah. Oh, hey. Oh, hey, you're learning. Look at you. That's what she said. Yes. Well, thanks for that little Canadian to do. Yes, they are on the road trip. Yes. But you know what? It's funny. They're playing. I feel better about them playing in Canada, knowing that maybe they'll have some of their family members there versus when they hit the West Coast and the time change and all that stuff. And they just don't ever seem to do good on the whole Kings, Anaheim Sharks, Knights. That's the road trip I hate.
Yeah. No, they don't.
Yeah,
they never do well on that. But just a quick little covering of that. So yes, first game tonight is in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if they still call it the United Center, but that's where they're going to be at.
Sure.
7 o'clock puck drop. So next is the full over the border portion of the trip, and that starts in Calgary. 9 o'clock puck drop against the Flames. 2 days later, Thursday night, the 24th, 9 o'clock puck drop again against the Oilers, featuring Connor McDavid. That's the game I want to see if I can stay up and get through. Because they are playing some pretty good hocky, so that's going to be a nice little early test.
I meant the time sucks, not the games.
Yeah, I knew what you meant. And then very little rest, a quick turnaround to back-to-back. They play the Vancouver Canucks and Jay Beagle. 10 o'clock puck drop for that one. That's on the West Coast. And then they get a few days rest, and then it's next Tuesday. But by then we'll have another episode in the can. But next Tuesday it'll be the Leafs at Air Canada. 7 o'clock puck drop for that, but we won't even discuss that one because we won't have gotten to the game by the next episode. And then they come back home the first of next month. So they're going to finish out the month on the road.
And I think this is one that everyone kind of looked at the schedule and thought, oh, this is a long time. This is a long time away from, Caps fans and your loved ones and, what you're familiar with. But again, like I said before, it's part of their job, and some of them are going home. Like Tommy will play in Toronto, and all the Wilsons will be there, and so that's okay. Like, I don't worry about this one as much. I think it's going to be an awesome week of hockey. So if I can stay up for those 10 o'clock games.
And the one good thing about road trips, especially long ones, it gives the chance, and because there's a lot of new people on this team, it gives a good chance for the newer guys to bond with the guys that have been there a while.
Sure.
Because you're not at home, you're not living at home doing your own thing. You're all together in one place.
Right.
And you're doing things more as a team. So I think a lot of good can come out of it. They might get a little jet lagged in some games. I don't know. It's going to be another mixed bag. I think we can definitely expect another up and down week, but I think they'll come out of it pretty good.
Agreed.
Okay, so I think this is a pretty good place to wrap it up here. And so, Anna, did you have anything else you wanted to put out there? Anything going on your end?
No.
No?
No. And
Okay.
school, and that's about it.
All right. Good. So we'll end it here then. So this is the Blue Liner on Point signing off on behalf of Anna Knox and reminding you that I would like to joke about paper, but I won't because it's terrible.
That joke was terrible.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Hallelujah, and let's go Caps.
Go Caps.
This has been another episode of the Powerplay Point Podcast. All episodes are available from Apple Podcasts, the Podbean app, blueliner77.podbean.com, and now available from Stitcher. Music by Joe McAllister, voiceover by Jeffrey Conkle.
Hello there, Caps. This is Blue Liner back here. Just wanted to give another shout out to our friends over at the Sports on the Hill podcast. They've been kind enough to plug us here at the Powerplay Point Podcast. Of course, they have Anna on for Caps Talk, first hour of their show every evening, and you can catch that every Monday on Facebook Live and over the True Radio Network. So again, that's the Sports on the Hill podcast that stars Carol Porter III and Robbie Gross, both good friends of the show. And again, they feature Anna the first hour for Caps Talks. I just want to give them a little plug, of course, and want to be remiss in that because they're great friends, great supporters of the show. Like to take this time to both plug them and thank them. And in the future, you'll be hearing a lot more about their coverage of the Caps, as well as the rest of the things, all things DC sports. So just want to give that a mention, and thanks for listening.